Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Aegis Marauders League Week 2. We are here finally to begin this matchup between Esports X and Deus Vult. My name is Moose, joined today by Septi. Septi, hello, happy week. How was your weekend?
It was pretty good. I've been spending it playing Baldur's Gate 3 pretty much the entire time. But I mean, I've been more so just super excited for all the the crazy things that we've seen on LCS with being on the live patch. Just I mean, I don't know. I'm liking to see how the meta is just evolving as we're going throughout. I like the resurgence of Brand Jungle that we saw. It's towards the end of last season, but now it's really making a comeback. It's set to get some nerfs, I think, tomorrow. But still, it's a really exciting pick. I'm excited for this match because I think Deus Vult had some pretty crazy picks last week. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I saw Senna Lee Sin as something they pulled out of their bag on blue side. And so, I mean, just knowing these teams, Esports obviously being, I believe, the runners-up last year in the AML. They have some notoriety behind their name. Deus Vult trying to make a name for themselves. I think they have a couple of people who have been around the scene. Hypnotic Viper is a name I recognize. But it should be interesting. Both teams 2-0'd week 1 and are currently tied for first in the standings in, I believe it is the Ixtal division. But I mean, yeah, Moose, I'm super excited.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of recapping what we're looking at. We're looking at the Ixtal division here. Talking about a lot of the big heavy hitters, former winners in the Sad Boys in this division, former or runners up Esports X with the Absar and Rizwan in the top mid lane or the top jungle duo in this division, as well as some of Lation Esports, which has Zeha, which is on the Ambition roster last season. So a lot of really strong players in this division vying for one of those 4 playoff spots. Like you were talking about, both Esports and Deus Vult both being able to win their first week of play and are looking to be in the top tier of teams moving into week 3. So let's go ahead and jump into the draft right quick. We've already got that set up for you. Deus Vult's going to be over on the blue side. They're going to be going with the Ornn top lane, Xin Zhao jungle, Orianna, and then Varus Senna going down into the bottom lane. Esports X is going to go with the Aatrox, Sejuani, Akali, Lucian, and Emilio. What are your thoughts on that, Septi?
Yeah, I mean, Varus is just a staple champion to take on B1. Nothing too crazy. Lucian, definitely one of those choices that you could have gone for there. But Varus will just provide you maybe a little bit of range as well as adaptability and build as we go on. Lucian Emilio, super stable the bot lane. It is absolutely crushing in the LPL and the LCK. Maybe not as much so in LCS and LEC. I don't know if it's player diff or whatever, but that Lucian champion looks really, really scary in the hands of those who know what they're doing. Looking around the rest of the draft, it's pretty stock standard. Xin Zhao Orianna is a very solid mid-jungle duo for this blue side here. Akali, a nice answer to the Orianna, should provide some pressure post-level 6. Interesting that it's paired with the Sejuani. Normally, I feel like you'd want something with either a faster attack speed or maybe a few more auto-attack resets. But should be able to provide some support to the melees with that Aatrox in the top lane there. Ornn, just a safe blind, Aatrox will be able to run that lane, which means that Sejuani should have a little bit more pressure on the map. Honestly, throughout most of the game, going to be lacking a little bit of prio from the mid lane, but Lucian Emilio and Aatrox on the sides will be giving that Sejuani so much pressure. Senna, a little bit of an interesting pick here. It definitely is one that Deus seemed to really like. And just will be falling back on this game. But ultimately, I think, definitely blue has scaling advantage. Red going to be looking to use their pressure early to get some early objectives.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Deus going with that Xin Zhao a little bit more. It does decently give Orianna the opportunity to go for that ball delivery system, that shockwave, the value that you're able to provide with that. But you're also expecting that they're going to have that pressure early on to generate kills and get, especially this bottom lane, Hypnotic Viper going. You're playing a very heavy, very aggressive, I would say, bottom lane here with the Senna. If you're able to land those skill shots, Chains of Corruption post 6 with the Varus, along with the Dawning Shadows, it's a decent amount of damage that can be very difficult for an early game Milio and an early game Esports X to be able to handle. And so there is the potential snowball effect there. But Esports X I think the scaling composition, the scaling of just the team is still there. Aatrox is probably one of the best champions in the game right now. And I think that Con Esports X could start to take control of this game at the 15-16 minute mark, depending on how lucky they do or how well they play. Akali as well. Like, all these champions in and of themselves could potentially just outskill their opponents and make it very difficult for Deus Vult to win game one.
Yeah, it definitely is the draft that we'd expect from, a team that did finish runners up last year. We know that, they have a good eye for talent with the people they picked up. And so hoping that, this new bot lane for the Con Esports organization is going to be able to roll just as hard as our last one did. And Lucia Milio, I mean, granted, I think they did pretty well last week themselves. But, that lane is definitely one that they can show their stuff in.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but before we get into game, we are going to hold you just a little bit longer. We want to let everyone know about our wonderful sponsors here at the Aegis Marauders League and Coachify.gg. Aegis Esports League of Legends is sponsored by Coachify.gg for our winter split in 2024. Coachify provides tools for esports coaches to manage their teams and players while also finding new students. Click the panel located below the stream to check out their website for more information. And without, I guess we could do our dragon prediction moose as well before we hop in.
Yes.
Gonna keep the people waiting just a little bit longer.
Just a little bit longer.
And I promise we have more content.
We do. We have content going. It was an Ocean Drake last, and I chose it, so you get to go first to start things off, Septi.
Did I get 2-0 last week?
It was 1-1.
It was 1-1? Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're doing, Snake. So I will take Hextech.
Hextech. I will take Chemtech and Mountain.
All right. I will go Infernal and Cloud.
Okay, which will leave me with Ocean. Sounds good. And with that being said, we are now ready to jump into this match. Shout out to Wookie Monster, our producer behind the scenes, and shout out to the whole of the Aegis tournament organizing team. I'm gonna say it. It's been a living hell with all the spectator issues, with all the client issues that have been going on within the first part of season 14. And you got to shout out the production crew, the tournament organization crew, making sure that we're still able to get games going. It might not be as polished as you guys expect it to be, but it is still going, and we're still making content for you guys. And we appreciate you guys as the viewers coming in and joining us tonight. So let's go ahead and get into the game.
Yeah, I mean, pretty standard for the time being. I think Jungle was going to drop the ward for a sweeper, which we don't really see too much of these days, considering the sweeper timer did get an additional 30 seconds added to it, so you can't just drop a ward and instantly be able to sweep a camp at 130. But still, nonetheless, Zinja going to be starting on the blue, and it looks like Sejuani, at least for the time being, is going to be starting on the same side. And so sort of to the expectation, Ornn going to get left on an island here, and Xin Zhao will be playing towards its hyper-scaling bot lane.
Yeah, and I think that, Stale Bagel playing on this Ornn, everyone knows about it. Is that a bug, or did Talbenzit use their flash?
It looks like they definitely, potentially, maybe pressed the D button before they went to lane. It didn't catch it on camera, but I assume it was probably around when they were trying to drop a ward. Not sure if the enemy team knows about it, but should be, maybe that could honestly be the difference maker between a kill, landing or not, especially with the Xin Zhao trying to path down towards the very aggressive bot lane, which has taken a very substandard trade for this Lucian Milio. Yes, you will have the Cozy Campfire to heal up just a little bit, but you don't really want to be trading too heavily level 1. Level 1 is Lucian. You would think Lucian's strong early, therefore I can trade whenever I want to. Not really the case in this matchup, because with the Hail of Blades as well as the Senna range, you're kind of going to get out traded on the return. Because once you go into auto, you got to be able to walk back out, and just look at this. The hail of arrows coming in from Varus, just doing a little bit of poke damage every time, is just gonna just start landing meaningful damage. And look at the pots already on verticality, down to 0 pots available. Cozy Campfire gonna get popped by Muzi as we have a gank in the mid lane. Absolar gonna try and go for a level 3 gank here.
Gonna get a nice bit of damage in onto Abzar. Abzar is in trouble, gonna be force flash away. Neversaw's gonna go in and is gonna be force flash themselves. Wind becomes lightning, connects, and Deus Vult gets a good bait and switch on that first blood.
Yeah, Neversaw just got way too greedy. They're trying to go for the Orianna. Yeah, I mean, you got her chunked out of lane. You got a good health advantage. Honestly, Sejuani would have died had the Xin had flash, but was not the case in that instance. So Sedge would have been able to walk away. Akali, maybe budgeting for that, was going to try and go in and trade onto the Orianna, but was not the case. And a very nice Wind becomes lightning from Tau Benzite, I think we'll call him. Will, you know, spell doom for the Con Esports mid laner, who is, I mean, in a matchup like this, you cannot really afford to be starting off slowly. As Wind Become Lightning lands again, Apps are going to get forced to walk back. No flash available. Tau Benzite going to get the second blood of this game, 2-0 on the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, now Muzi is in trouble, gonna land the root, gonna be forced to flash. Verticality is gonna get away with their flash use. Bunch of summoner spells getting exhausted here. Well, like Hypnotic Viper will deal a little bit more of that turret plate damage. It is now an 800 gold lead for Deus Vult.
Yeah, and because of the trading from level 1, look at the tower damage already chunked past 1 plate for the side of Deus Vult there. So a nice bit of extra gold going into the pockets of Hypnotic Viper and Ekin. So just doing a really nice job. The Lucian Milio not getting any pressure for the time being. So much so that Xin Zhao is actually going to be able to walk into this blue buff on the Sejuani's bot side here. Might be able to take it away themselves as well after grabbing that bot side crab. And oh my goodness, Moose, this just looks super painful as W's gonna land.
No, oh. Wow, Hypnotic Viper will take that one, and that's the power of the early game Varus Senna. If you land those roots, you can deal massive damage early on, especially
verticality.
Milio, and now verticality is in trouble. Excellent.
Doesn't even need the jungler.
Yeah, not even needed. That is just 2 kills for Deus Vult, now up 4-0.
Wow, this is a disaster. Already 2.1k, 2.2k ahead on this blue side here. Yes, Sejuani will get first dibs on the grubs, but I think you are more than happy with your bot lane as far ahead as they are. That is a kill on both laners. Varus going to be going for the poke build this game, as identified by the Hail of Blades, as well as by that Dirk picked up, as we still Bagel going in with the Bella's Breath, getting a little bit close to that Darkened Blade from Rizzy. But no, that's going to be 2 grubs picked up. That it will be 3 from Absar on the top side. And yes, it is nice for this red side to be able to pick up the grubs, but the only lane you really have going for you now at this moment is the top side. The other 2 lanes just sort of fell to disaster a little bit. Lucian Milio again not providing the same opportunities that you would have expected it to. And granted, Senavarus very strong, you know, in the first 2 levels or so. But look at the summoner spells on either side. No flashes on verticality or Muzi, whereas Hypnotic and Ekin have all of their abilities up. It is going to be a rough time in this bot side.
Yeah, and I mean, good start from Deus Vult, and I think Tau Benzite doing exactly what they needed to do on the Xin Zhao, despite losing flash early on, I think, from just technical error, but being able to go in, landing those Wind Becomes Lightnings is super critical, and that has resulted in 2 of those kills happening onto Absar and Neversaw. It is a 2,000 gold lead at the 6.5 minute mark, which is quite impressive. No dragon attempted yet by either team, though. It is that Hextech Drake trying to come through for now. Game's kind of slowed down a little bit. Low mana bars on Intruder, as it looks like there is a gank potentially coming in from Tau Benzite, but this is going to be a 2v2. Absar is in the area. They will not be able to get it, as now Side's going to be able to come away. Stale Bagel is now going to have to deal with the World Ender. We're going to go back to mid lane. Wind Becomes Lightning is going to connect, but the Audacious Charge is already used. They'll be able to get out. Rizzy is going to get hit by the Call of the Forge God, but should be able to get under tower. A lot of action going on here in these lanes.
Yeah, and I honestly thought that fight on the top side would have been much more favorable for Rizzy, but still Bagel doing a nice job to kite it back, not even forced to use the flash, and instead is going to have the Aatrox on the back foot there. Now, and the benefit to that was that the Ornn is now able to also get the wave in, as Tau Benzite is going to try maybe go for a play. Your flash going to land onto verticality.
Oh, wow, Tau Benzite wanted to get the Wind Becomes Lightning into the 3-pronged strike onto verticality, but it doesn't work. Now the Glacial Prison's going to come in, and Absar is going to get big damage in onto Hypnotic Viper. and Ekin gonna be forcing the flash, forcing the barrier, and it is not enough. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, never saw will go down, never saw Intruder coming. It's gonna be a 2-for-1 across the rift.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good trade back for Khan. Yes, the kill goes back to Intruder in the mid lane, which is going to be really, really nice in this matchup for the Orianna. I mean, look at the items that they took. They took the tonic, rune, which means that they're just playing for that extra skill point, which means the lane was a little bit sacked for the Orianna for the time being, but instead was able to get that kill back onto Neversaw, who is just not going to be finishing that mask for the time being. But on the bot side, it is absolutely massive for Verticality to actually get a kill back in this lane. Sort of unfortunate that one of those kills went to Absar, but you know, it is what it is in that moment, and you will take the gold where you find it. And just taking a look around, it looks like Brutalizer gonna get picked up by Verticality. Will be going, I believe, for, I'm forgetting the name of the item. They're gonna be going for the Energizer item that applies the slow on auto attack. But I mean, curiously enough, no dragon has been gone for so far by Talbenzite. It's just with the push that he's had in the mid and the bot lane, you would have expected this Zinja to be maybe just a little bit more aggressive. And Stale Bagel, without your ulti, you are a sitting duck towards his Aatrox. I don't know what you're thinking there, bud.
Yeah, World Ender is available. Never saw it. Now level 6 is going to look to go for a kill here against Talbenzite, or just try to harass. He'll potentially be a 3v3 if you're not careful, but it looks like everyone is saying, all right, the blue buff is gone. We will walk away from this one. So we'll go back to mid lane. We'll go back to the jungle, and we'll look to continue to keep things going. Level 6 for Absar, level 6 for Talbenzite. Shockwave is ready for Intruder if they do find a play, and it does look like Intruder could find it now. Talbenzite gonna come in. Neversaw is gonna go onto Intruder. The Shockwave completely misses. The knockup does land on the Neversaw, but Neversaw is just moving around and moving around. We'll make it a 1-for-1 in the 2v1.
Yeah, I mean, sort of interesting. I guess you're trading gold onto the assassin, so in that case, it's okay. But Orianna getting gold is certainly not what you want in this lane. Neversaw already struggling to sort of have a lasting impact against this Orianna. But hold on, the fight's not over yet.
Vernal Chain's gonna put Stale Bagel in a bit of a scary, difficult situation. Nice flash from Wizron, but the Wind Becomes Lightning will connect, and Talbenzite will pick up that kill. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Absa is gonna take on Etchin, and Hypnotic Viper is next. That'll go to Verticality, and now we've got another play on Neversaw down, or in the top lane. He's go back in to try to get the kill on Esports. Neversaw, what are you doing? That'll end up making it an even trade across the rift.
Yeah, it's going to be an even trade, even down to the neutral objectives. Dragon going to be taken for the red side here, as well as it looks like Talbenzite is going to go for those grubbies in the top side. There's a massive wave crashing on this top side. Luckily, though, Rizzy going to have that teleport available to make sure they're able to gather that XP and gold for themselves. And this sequence of events has been absolutely horrid for Neversaw. Just really not what you want to be seeing for the mid laner success. You know, dying in mid, yes, you want 1-for-1. But then, you know, instantly TPing top and dying again just means that you're off the map for so long, not getting XP or gold. And we already see what looks like a full level lead almost on this mid lane here, with Neversaw at 8 and Intruder at 9. And on top of that, Intruder going to be sitting on a little bit of gold here. Should be working towards their first item just a little bit faster than Neversaw is. Who, I mean, appears to be going towards what I believe is going to be a Rift Maker. I think Akali's have been going for a double mask build in this day and age. But you know, we'll see what they decide to do once they go for that item. But on the bot side, I gotta credit Verticality and Muzi. They were able to actually chunk out the Senna in lane and do a really nice job of setting up that kill with Absar with the culling from that Lucian, just knocking down the Senna, doing so much damage. And on this top side, Stale Bagel just absolutely getting wailed on by Rizzy.
Yeah, still 0-0 and 2, has not died yet. You know, Rizwan did die a little bit earlier, was able to teleport back to that big wave as you had mentioned. Titanic Hydra and Sunfire Aegis completed for both Talbenzite and Absar, as well as first item going to be that oh my gosh, it's the electric item, the one that you were talking
Voltaic Cyclosword.
There you go, the Cyclosword. Nice.
Thank you. My brain I had to search long and hard for that one. But anyway.
Well, we also got a Yomu's completed for Hypnotic Viper, and it is still a 2,000 gold lead. So despite Deus Vult getting that early lead, that 2,000 gold lead at 6 minutes, it has not expanded because Connie Sports X is at least getting kills across the map, and they might be looking to go for a little bit more. Absar, nicely done, going to be able to go in for that headbutt, but the Glacial Prison not going to be used. They'll be able to get under tower with now Tabenzit on the way.
Yeah, and it looks like Tabenzit just gonna try and walk back to get their bot lane out of the situation, as Absar still trying to look for potential play here. Hypnotic Viper absolutely taking control of this lane, stepping up, you know, calling their bluff almost, because I think that's a really close fight in the end if they decide to pull the trigger onto someone, because remember, no cleanse on either bot laner. And now that the Sejuani's been pushed out of lane, look at the health advantage for this side of Deus Vult here. So much in favor of the Senna Varus there, as Q gonna get landed onto Tabenzit.
Yeah, they knew where he was, and now it's a 2v2 here in the mid lane. Dawning Shadow's gonna land a big shield, and Tabenzit's gonna be at half HP. Trying to get out. Never saw. Nicely done to be able to get out of that one, but now Absar is going to be on the menu. Hypnotic Viper will now be 2-1.
It's a good thing they still got a kill out of that, because another missed shockwave was almost the cause of not getting any kills there. But a nice roam up from the bot lane meant that the Sejuani is going down, and we are having boar for dinner. But anyway, Hypnotic Viper again doing a nice job. And before we have any more action, Wookie, do you mind swapping to the gold real quick? Thank you very, very much, as we have had a whole bunch of fighting here, as Verticality goes for a nice trade onto the bot side. And I kind of want to see where the split is. And it looks like to be a pretty healthy lead in the jungle mid for the side of Deus Vult, as well as, you know, in both bot laners. So we could definitely see where this 3,000 gold lead is sitting. And it is not with the Ornn Moose.
No, I'm shocked. I can't believe it.
Yeah, who would have guessed? Who would have guessed?
Bagel didn't outperform Rizwan as the Aatrox?
No, come on. Taking all that, if we look at damage taken at the end of the game, I'm sure still Bagel will have 3 times the amount of the next person. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah. For sure. But now the real question is, what do you build first? You've got a Bramble Vest, you've got a Bambi Cinder, you've got a Chain Vest. Not any big items. You got that Thornmail component still available, but no items available, or no items completed just yet. First item also is not completed for Neversaw on the Sakali. Has the Hunting Guys, has the Blasting one, but is still, you know, a couple hundred gold away from getting that Rift Maker. But Rift Herald will be attempted by Connie Sports X. Tabenzit is going to be seen, going to be able to get that ward out, but they're not going to be able to stop the Rift Herald from getting taken. They will be able to complete it. In exchange, the bottom tier 1 tower will go down for Deus Vult.
I believe that Akali build is actually going towards Leandri's. I don't.
Oh no, you're right.
I don't believe Riftmaker builds out of a.
Oh no, Verticality.
Oh, Ekin. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay. Well, the play looked good for the time being. Ekin, you know, did a nice job trying to tank, but Verticality just able to find enough damage back onto the bot lane duo of Deus Vult. Means that this Lucian is going to come out of that play really nicely, as they're just a little bit ever closer towards that Stormracer. And sort of as we look at this game evolving, it seems to be both AD carries going to be incredibly fed for both teams here in this top lane. Honestly, I gotta give props to Stale Bagel. This is a great Ornn performance here, because, you know, staying even on HP the whole time as the Herald's going to get dropped in mid. No plates available, so just got to get a bit of a chunk as Khan moves towards the second dragon of the game. But does have a good bit of vision here. As Absar now going to get caught out and knocked up.
Should be able to get that headbutt away. And I do want to go back as the dragon does get started. We'll talk about the Ornn after this team fight. It is going to be a 4v4 for now. Rizwan has teleport. Stale Bagel does not. That could be the deciding factor here. Rizwan is going to have a lot of damage being taken on them as the Ornn is going to land. Not going to have that ability to be able to use that. Meanwhile, back in the bottom lane, Stale Bagel to get it. Stale Bagel gets the kill onto Rizwan, and Connie Sports X disengaged from the fight in the jungle. They're going to start the dragon, but now Deus Vult can still go for it.
That is an amazing read coming out from Stale Bagel, being able to use the Searing Charge onto the tower, knowing that Rizwan is going to try and go for that kill. I mean, this is Stale Bagel sort of having a good idea of where the game state's at, because Rizwan as well knows is trying to get a lead to actually have his team be able to play around a certain lane, because the rest of the map is very even. So if Rizwan is able to knock or break open this top lane rather, it means that his team has an angle to play through. It means that he's going to be able to start pressuring the map, and, you know, sort of having an idea of you know, the desperation coming out from this Aatrox. Stale Bagel knew to go for that searing head charge as Intruder. Gonna get forced to flash here. Never saw. Gonna potentially find this kill. Will be able to knock it down with the Leandry. So very nicely done in the 1v1. Not even forced to use flash on the Con Esports mid laner.
Yeah, and we'll be able to get a little bit back on what was a less than ideal start for Neversaw, giving up a couple of, I wouldn't say free kills, but definitely not the kills that you would have expected a Masters level player to be going for here. 11-8 though. Con Esports X is still trying to get the lead. 30k for them, 32.5k for the for Deus Vult. 2 items completed for Hypnotic Viper, getting the Manamune. We've also got the Archangel Staff completed for Intruder, looking to get their second item fairly soon. The Bammy Cinder has upgraded to the Sunfire Aegis, and we got a fight in the jungle. Talbenzit gonna get stunned, but maybe is going to be in trouble. Talbenzit has no means of escape and is going to get hit by Infernal Chains. Will use the Crescent Guard to try to get out, and now the rest of Deus Vult is looking to be able to keep him alive. They are looking to disengage. They're very weak. Xin Zhao, he'll be able to avoid the Glacial Prison. Nice route coming in from Eshin, and they will walk out of it.
Yeah, and it's a really long chase coming out from Khan, really, for not much reward, but now Rizwan gonna be on a ward here. Gonna get pushed off just a little bit as Verticality, Muzi, Rizzy, and Absol are gonna try and squad up to take this mid tower, but Intruder is just gonna find potentially the death chamber yet again, as Neversaw does a really nice job of finding the 1v1 angle again onto the mid lane, who sort of, it doesn't really seem to be paying, not paying attention, but rather just not doing their due diligence to check these bushes, make sure that there's no Akali waiting for them. And contrarily, Neversaw doing a nice job exploiting the Orianna and knowing, oh, hold on.
Got an Oran Horn going to land it on the Muzi and on the Verticality. Ekken's gonna be able to take that kill with Dawning Shadows, as Muzi's gonna be forced to flash away, trying to escape themselves. Rizwan on the defensive, trying to keep this Milio alive. Huge damage from that piercing arrow. Will not be able to take them down, but they are not out of this just yet. Verticality, or I'm sorry, Rizzy will be able to get out, but that tower is not long for this world. Will go down. Deus Vult increasing the lead to almost 3,000.
Yeah, Verticality going down there just means that they're able to knock down that first tower. Talbenzit just gonna get really aggressive here. Doesn't actually have any information on where this Akali is, and the rest of his team is out of the play. So realistically, this Xin Zhao might have bitten off more than he could chew.
Yeah, and we'll see if he's able to get out of that one. Talbenzit now down to about a quarter of HP, but Absar is completely out of HP. Stale Bagel so tanky as the teleport's gonna come in from Intruder. Does not have the shockwave yet, though. Oh no! The shockwave not available, and now Verticality is going to try to come through. Hypnotic Viper is going to go down to the Lucian. The root does not land on Neversaw. Is going to try to be able to get out. Will be able to do so. Shockwave still available, and that play goes to Con Esports X.
This is a crazy play. Hold on, Talbenzit gonna use the Crescent Guard, try and knock Neversaw away. Shuriken Flip gonna land onto Ekken, but should not be looking to take that. Doesn't have the ulti available just yet on the Akali, but the tower will go down.
Hey, tower's gonna go down. It is back to an even gold game though, Septi. Within 500. Nice one becomes lightning. It's gonna land on Neversaw. They do not commit to it though, so we will get a little bit of a reset. Well, that happened. Rizwan did take the tier 1 tower in the top lane. We have seen a lot of kills coming out from Neversaw and Verticality in that exchange. Now 5-3-1 for the Lucian, 4-4-1 for Neversaw. When they started this run, they were 1-4. So they've definitely put in some work here in the mid game.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate actually for the side of Deus Vult, because they had such a good foothold in this game, but they sort of misunderstood or, you know, misplayed their comp's identity. I mean, because looking at this right side, all they want to do is fight and skirmish all day long. Neversaw on the Akali as well as the Lucian with Verticality. They have the power. They have the power spike at this point in the game, right? You know, they're on 2 items. They're looking to really do a massive amount of damage to players who step, you know, just slightly too close. And with Talbenzit, as well as honestly Hypnotic Viper and Ekin trying so hard to force these early fights, it just allows them a window back into it, as we have a dragon here. Will be Cloud Soul this game, as we see teleport coming in from the bot side of this fight.
Yeah, going to be far away, though. The Dragon's going to get just taken, and now maybe looking for kills on the way out. Stale Bagel's going to initiate with the Ord Horn on Verticality, but he does not land any extra damage. Absar is going to go down. Ekken's going to go down. It's 2 kills to 2. 3v3, and Stale Bagel's going to land that root coming in. Verticality is still alive. Going to try to get more. Stale Bagel is not long for this world. 1 HP. Will be able to get out with a flash. Talbenta does not. Will get shut down. That'll go to Neversaw. And now Stale Bagel and Intruder are running for the hills. Verticality will take down the Ornn, and Intruder is left standing. A 4-for-2 trade.
And a very, very clean pinch from, I believe it was from Khan there. Did a nice job. Aatrox and Akali coming in from the flanks. Verticality did a nice job sidestepping that Ornn ulti, which meant that the Xin did not quite have the angle to find the Wind Becomes Lightning onto the AD carry of Khan Esports. And, you know, yes, you lost the Dragon, but a single cloud is not going to spell doom for you. But what it will do is give you a little bit more time to get into this game. Gold again, as you said, even for both sides here. Deus has squandered their 3k gold lead in this game. And looking around the map, it looks as though Stale Bagel has opted to go for a locket, which is not really something we see too much of, but maybe just a nice bit in this game. I sort of like it into the likes of Akali, but it sort of doesn't really do too much into Aatrox, who's really just going to be doing so much damage throughout all these fights. But I mean, looking at items for the time being, we are going to see a Magi Soul Stealer picked up from Neversaw, as well as a whole bunch of armor picked up from Absar, which means that Intruder, you know, who is currently behind in items, needs to be, you know, getting the gold and trying to really focus down these heavy armor targets. But I mean, has just so far been unable to find the goal for themselves. You know, as we saw in the bot lane, solo killed twice by Neversaw, so really does not have the safety or the ability to really step up and play for these second waves in the lane. I mean, we see now the wave is even on their side of the river. As Hypnotic Viper going to get absolutely tickled by this Verticality culling.
Oh boy, Verticality though going to try to get out. The Storm Razor used. Dawning Shadow's going to come out. The shields will be there. Rapid Fire Cannon on Verticality going to have a little bit extra range. That Voltaic Cyclo Sword as well, getting a little bit of damage, getting a little bit of the slow.
Oh my goodness.
Not anything out. Rizwan though is in trouble. World Leader's going to get popped. That's going to be able to get the knock up, and now Rizwan is scarily close to death. Stale Bagel will take that kill. Shockwave lands from Intruder as they flash forward, but will not be able to keep Talbenta alive. Hypnotic Viper is next. Neversaw is dominating. Scale Bagel's in the area, but there's not much more that Deus Vult can do. They are out of juice, and Khan Esports X will win this cross-map fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard for the 4 members of Deus Vult to fight in the mid lane there when they don't have Ornn to actually keep that front line in place, right? Verticality and Moose are going to do so much damage in combination that basically it allows Neversaw basically is a perfect piece for them to actually split. I say as Neversaw actually might be dying here in the Shroud for the time being, as Verticality actually going to go and help them out, but still Bagel
get out. Neversaw's going to go in. Oh my god, what damage on that Ekin. Neversaw's going to have a little bit of healing from Moozy. Intruder is caught way out of position, and Verticality is going to be unstoppable. Khan Esports X are now looking for more. Stale Bagel is next. Double kill for Verticality. The root's going to land on the Rizwan, who will go down after teleporting in, but it is still a 3v3.
Yeah, it's a 3v3 on the, you know, in this situation here, and it might not be over yet as Talbenta going to be trying to hunt them down. Verticality, though, looking for a turn onto Hypnotic Viper. Not going to find it. The Q stack's going up. Talbenta no. Solution. As the shutdown goes to center off from the Akali, Talbenta now going to try. Melee ulti popped.
Wow, big nice damage though. Hypnotic Viper so low. Double kill for Ekin, and a messy play coming in from both teams. But overall, Deus Vult will take the lead back and get a big shutdown onto Verticality.
Yeah, messy is definitely the word to describe this game so far. It is an absolute bloodbath. 38 kills at 27 minutes into the game, and it seemed really strange there because Deus Vult was definitely out there, and Intruder just decided to kite into the Grump without flash available. Sort of drew their team in a little bit further. Yes, it sort of allowed for the secondary fight to happen, but was a situation where I think you were totally fine to just, you know, take the HP trades, take the cooldown trades, and then just keep moving on. We have Dragon spawning in 26 seconds, will be the second cloud of the game. And it seems as though Deus has done a nice job setting up for the time being. They definitely have this river control and are playing for this mid lane now. Looking around the map, it is interesting to see that Moozy on the Milio has opted to go for Mikhail's as well. I guess when it comes to, you know, the the blighted arrow from Hypnotic Viper. They don't want to have to expend their whole ulti just for one person getting targeted down by Varus ulti. As Top Benson now going to try and find an engage with a team not really that close yet.
World Ender's going to get popped, though. His teleport's going to come through from Neversaw, going to be able to use the strat to try to be able to get away. A lot of damage in onto Ekin and Hypnotic Viper. They got a good angle, but they're not going to be able to go for any more damage. I think the Locket was used as well. But now Neversaw is in the area, cannot go for a flank.
Yeah, but you know, the resulting play is that they overcommitted onto the top side, which means that they were forced back into their side of the map, and therefore they lost the full control of this bot side river that they worked so painstakingly hard for. As hold on.
Oh no, Abzar's caught out. They're gonna get rooted, but they're still alive. Rizwan does not have World Ender. Is going to be a fish out of water, gonna be forced to flash. Hypnotic Viper gonna be able to get that arrow. Dawning Shadows on a verticality will take down Stale Bagel. Neversaw cannot get into the back line, trying to be able to do what they can with only 5 stacks on that Dark Seal. Will flash forward and will give their life to the Ram God. It's a double kill for the Stale Bagel, who's looking fresh here in the late game.
Yeah, Neversaw tried to go for the flash 5-point strike, but was just a little bit off. Flashed the wall blind and tried to Q Hypnotic Viper, who they thought was right there on the other side of the wall, but was unable to find that kill onto the Deus 80 carry. But now Baron is going to be on the table as Abs are going to look to trade this third Cloud Dragon. And honestly, that fight went pretty well for the side of Deus, which I know is sort of a no-brainer. But from the situation, it looked like they were going to be hard struggling, but Absar for some reason just stayed off to the side of the fight, which basically meant that the rest of their team could not fight, because if they did, it meant committing to a point of the fight where they just didn't have any front line. And so Verticality and Muzi just really could not get in there as much as they would have liked to, and as a result, Absar went down early, and then it was Rizzy, and then it was Neversaw, who, you know, tried very hard at the end of that to make a play for themselves, but in the end, you know, it was a 3-for-1, I believe, in favor of Deus, and they're able to get this Baron now and have a bit of a power play. Sure, they trade their dragon for it, but I mean, a cloud dragon in a game where there's already so many speed ups and dashes, it is not really the most insane thing. It is sort of nice for Lucian though to have that extra move speed on the culling should they decide to use it, potentially even as a defensive option. But it looks like we're gonna have a 5-man group up in the mid lane using Baron nicely, as well as the range that Senna and Varus provide to really push this low range Con Esports X team off these towers.
Yeah, that's the inner tier 1 tower gone, looking to go for tier 2 tower gone. They still have to deal with an outer tower in the top lane before they can go for that one. And it looks like they are maybe trying to figure out what exactly they want to do. They're going to leave Hypnotic Viper on their own in the mid lane, though. Will be able to walk out, did not get by any sort of damage, does have the Edge of Night to be able to protect themselves from a little bit of CC. There's still 90 minutes or 90 seconds remaining on this Baron power play. 3 items now going to be completed. Opportunity, the 3rd item completed for Hypnotic Viper, as well as that Thornbaiter getting completed for Stale Bagel. Sunder Sky, Sterix Gauge for Tau Benzit. And then a very aggressive, you know, I think a classic Senna build with the Yomus, followed by the Opportunity, and then we'll get that 3rd item fairly soon. But now back to the Baron power play. They'll be able to get that top tier 2 tower as well, but overall, just 2 tier 2 towers is not the most effective Baron power play that I've seen. We'll see if they can get something in this last minute.
No, it's definitely not the most efficient, but it definitely is the sort of Baron power play that this team needs to follow. They could have, the only, you know, real optimization they could have done is maybe try and put their top lane on a slow push by killing a few minions and just letting it stack up for them. But I think, you know, what we've seen is that this Con Esports side has a really, really easy job of picking people off, you know, whether it's the Glacial Prison, whether it's the Akali ultimate, or even, you know, the culling coming out from Verticality on this Lucian does such a nice job of just singling down, you know, 1 or 2 members of the enemy team. And so the fact that they have Stale Bagel with them for these pushes just means that the rest of their team is going to be so much more safe, and they can pull the trigger without having to wait the 4 or 5 seconds it takes to TP in and actually start pressing your abilities. But as a result, yeah, it looks a little bit stale. It looks a little bit slow as far as Baron takes go. But it definitely, I think, is the right decision in this game, because, I mean, we talked about it in draft a bit, that blue has the more scaling favored composition. As a very nice Crescent Guard, going to push Neversaw out of the ulti, or out of the Shroud, rather. But, I mean, it's a bit of a wasted cooldown because you're never killing her there.
Yeah, Crescent Guard not going to be available. I think it was a lack of cooldowns that killed Con Esports X in that last team fight. But now we got Sail Bagel go to initiate with the Orno and Verticality. Nice dodge to be able to get away, but that's the chain of corruption. Verticality is going to be saved by Muzi Ultimate and Mikhail's Crucible use, as well as heal to keep Verticality alive.
Yeah, did a nice job there, you know, with that, you know, what's it called, the Varus ultimate there, to catch out Verticality, who did have to use their dash to get away from the Ornhorn. You know, just did a nice job there. They were able to not unfortunately knock down that tower, but they were able to get a whole bunch of cooldowns as well as some key abilities, you know, from this Melia, from the solution. As now it looks as though Khan gonna be trying to get something back. You know, they were forced to use the Glacial Prison to disengage that fight, but now looking to try and get something in trade. So I don't really know what capital they have towards making a play here.
Yeah, I mean, all 5 ultimates used from Deus Vult, they're going to be coming up fairly soon. World Ender's still available. Culling is just about to be available, as well as Muzi's ultimate. Glacial Prison is the one that you are sorely missing. And with 50 seconds remaining until Dragon, it will be available for Dragon, but it will not be available for Con Esports X to go for any sort of aggressive positioning to get warding down. And Deus Vult is going to be there first for river control.
Yeah, and here we go. I mean, we saw this last time, but we also saw them overcommit to a fight in mid, which is what lost them their actual hold over this objective. But it looks to be a bit more secure. They are dropping mid lane priority a little bit for the time being. Whether they turn this into a fight opportunity is yet to be seen, but it looks like still going to be walking out. And this looks like a really awkward fight setup as the Ornn is just sort of dangled as bait. A Searing Charge going to get forced out. Now it looks like they're just going to try and trade waves as fast as they can, but with Dragon spawning in less than 10 seconds and Baron not for another 50, Deus definitely have the advantage here.
Yep, going to be able to keep on that river control. Absar does have the Glacial Prison ready. That is one of those Oracle lenses used. They still have one on Neversaw. Could try to come in. We have the Glacial Prison ready to go. They have Smite ready to go. Who's going to be able to get a nice Crescent Guard from Talbenzit that will secure the Dragon. No soul point, or no soul for Con Esports X for now. But can Deus Vult get out of this one? Dale Bagel does still have the Ornhorn. Absar is not going to be able to get any further movement in. Going to be rooted nicely by Ekin, and now Deus Vult going to try to get out. They cannot go for that red buff. That red buff is a bait. Absar is going to go for the Glacial Prison, and now Rizwan's going to come in with a collapse. Can they find the damage onto those targets? No, they can't. Hypnotic Biker will take down Rizwan. Absar is low. Neversaw's going to try to come through, and Ekin, who's now getting barriered, will stay alive. Neversaw goes down. Ekin takes the kill, and Deus Vult gets everything they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, they get the Dragon, they get the kill. I think Rizzy thought he was on a different patch there with this Aatrox. That is not the amount of tankiness that you would expect. You know, have you been playing Aatrox, you know, in last season, the season before that, you are basically a three lethality item carry in this top side. You are going to get absolutely murdered if you do not have anyone frontlining with you. Absar as well, you know, with the Glacial Prison was only able to find Stale Bagel, and it looks like they're just going to try and avoid, or ignore rather, the tank of Con Esports and try and go for this game 1 win. And honestly, a well-deserved win from Deus Vult. They had a very clean early game, but then, you know, struggled a bit in the mid, but were able to pull it out, or pull it back rather, for the end of this game. And honestly, I think we saw some improvement coming up from them throughout the game, and I think they really worked together as a team. They had some interesting fights. It sort of looked like Khan maybe gave them a few opportunities. I think Stale Bagel for sure has to be my MVP in that game. Was able to, you know, fully, you know, soak the pressure of the Aatrox, which is a notoriously terrible matchup for the Ornn, as well as find some really nice Call of the Forge Gods to turn these fights and look for engages. And even at the end there, you know, yes, the Call of the Forge God wasn't the most amazing ulti in the game, but just was able to provide so much frontline for the team, you know, with the item selection, with the upgrading of the abilities. But I mean, obviously credit has to go to the rest of the team as well. I mean, Talbenzit, you know, had some good pathing in the early game, was able to find some kills in both the mid and bot lane to set them up, you know, for success relatively. But honestly, an exciting series for our two of our 2-0 teams in the Ixtal group. And Moose, I'm excited to see what they got for game number 2.
I am as well. We're going to take a quick break. We have to wait for that game to complete before we can get into that one. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Aegis Marauders League. We are ready to jump into Game 2. Deus Vult won against Con Esports X. It wasn't the cleanest match, but it was definitely Deus Vult favored from start to finish. Let's go ahead and take a look at the draft and see if Con Esports X can pull their way into a Game 2 win and take us to that pivotal Game 3. Septi, we've got the switch on the draft. Con Esports X is going to go over to blue side, and they're going to take Xin Zhao along with Hui, Cassante, Samira, and Rel.
Yeah, I mean, looking, I guess, not really similar to what they did last time, but definitely, you know, more of the we want to have agency in the game sort of situation. And it looks like we're going to have a Karma mid, actually, on the red side. Sorry, I know we were talking about blue, but I see Karma pick and I see Braum pick on the same team, and I'm like, oh, it's got to be Karma and a Soul. But I mean, looking at both sides here, it seems as though Deus have a couple counter matchups they like. Braum going to be interesting into Samira. Rel is definitely, you know, more defensive option, paired with the Varus there. But should be able to land a couple concussive blows, just trying to stun up the Samira before she gets the ultimate off there. And the bot side, Nocturne as well, going to be a bit of an interesting pickup from Deus Vult. It definitely doesn't seem to be, the most centered composition on this red side here. I don't really know what their objective is other than to try and stomp lanes. Nocturne to Xin Zhao, a very good matchup for Nocturne there. You have the fear to be able to actually knock the Xin Zhao back, as well as the stacking auto attacks from Lethal Tempo that he's most likely going to be able to take. Karma Hui is going to be pretty neutral. Pushing Hui is a champion that is absolutely insane with the number of abilities at their disposal. Should be able to pretty easily push the wave as well as control Karma's spacing. And then looking at the top side, K'Sante Garen has in the past traditionally been a Garen favored matchup, but I think with experience growth, K'Sante has been able to sustain a bit more in that matchup and shouldn't be too bad. And then looking at the bot lane, Samira, Rel have the opportunity to all in, but unless they do so, Varus Braum should be sitting pretty happy in that bot side. But I am a little bit curious to see how this game goes. I want to see how the Karma and the Nocturne work together. I want to see if Riz can actually sustain in this Garen matchup, and if they're able to survive the quote unquote counter pick as this K'Sante.
Yeah, and I think we'll get into game here in just a second. Before we do, I want to talk about, I think, this K'Sante pick just as a champion in general in some of these compositions. I feel like when you play K'Sante, you want to be able to make it a two 4v4s and then a 1v1 on the side. You want to use that ult to get somebody out of position. Now, looking at this composition, like looking at the team fight here, what is going to be Rizwan's goal? Who are they trying to take out of the team fight? Is it just we need to be taking out Stale Bagel on the Garen, or is it maybe saying, hey, I can 1v1 the Varus with the Braum?
I think yeah, you're right. Rizwan is probably going to be trying to take away the Garen. Garen or Nocturne, whichever one it has been causing the most problems. Garen for sure, if left to free roam in a fight, could be problematic, with the silence, with the massive amounts of AoE damage. Critically, looking at the champions on Con Esports' side, they're not traditional tank busters. So trying to beat down a Garen that is going to have 3,000 health and 200 armor is not really going to be the easiest. I'm not super sure what the current Garen build is. I think they still go Stride Breaker, which is getting a bit of a change next patch. But I think they still go Stride Breaker. I still think they go for a pretty, in my opinion, unbalanced build or unskilled build. But curious to see what Bagel does on this Garen to sort of play their, again, quote unquote, winning matchup. But I think it's going to be interesting because I think K'Sante has the chance to actually completely beat down this Garen if the matchup goes their way. Definitely a earlier impacting jungler in the Xin Zhao. Nocturne has the opportunity to gank pre-6, but doesn't really like to do so, as that paranoia is such a crucial team fight ability, as well as just map accelerating ability. But then as we look at Deus, right, we have to make sure that this Nocturne is actually making good usage of their ulti. And if they're not able to get the first, 1 or 2 off to good value, then it's going to be really hard for Deus to actually finish this game out.
Fair enough. I definitely agree with you on the paranoia point. You got to see how well they're going to be able to play with that. You can't be using flash at level 1. Don't do that. But let's go into the Dragon Soul predictions here really quick. It was a Cloud Soul last game, the second Cloud Soul of the season so far. I'm going to start off with Hex Tech for this one.
I'll stick with Cloud, and then I will take Mountain as well.
Alrighty. I will go with Chemtech and Infernal, which is going to leave you with Ocean Septi. And with that being said, you're a fan. I'm a fan too.
I'm a fan of the original Dragons, Moose. And you know what else I'm more of a fan of as we get into game? I'm a big fan of good drafts.
Hey, nice segue.
And I'm even bigger fan of our sponsors, again, for the Aegis Marauders League in Pro Comps. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to them. They are our sponsor and a game changer app for League of Legends community. This isn't just, one of your other tools. It's your personal draft coach, perfect for both teams and solo players. And in fact, you can pair it with any other app you use. Pro Comps stands out with features like custom champion pools, personalized tier lists, and live draft advice. Think of it as having a virtual coach and strategy toolkit all in one. They offer real-time champ and ban recommendations. They already have over 200,000 downloads and thousands of daily users like you. ProComps is user-friendly and totally free. It's a no-brainer to at least give it a go. Download ProComps now and you'll experience a whole new level of drafting power in your league games. Go to ProCompsGG, download it from Overwolf, or click the panel below our stream to find out more information. And with that, Moose, we are into game 2.
Let's jump into it. Connie Sports actually going to go on the blue side, and we got to talk about Hui. It's a protein in real life. It's a way to go from some one distance to another, and it's also a new champ.
It's the Hui. Okay.
It's the Hui. Yeah. Show me. You got to show me the Hui as well.
No, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna do that.
If PVS was here, PVS would like it because he enjoys some dad jokes every now and again.
I'm sure PVS is still around. You can't ego us too hard after trying to go for NACL key, or what is it? Open qualifiers for NACL. Is that what the brothers doing these days?
Something like that. Anyway. But I do want to talk about it because it is still a new champion. It's in a lot of leagues something that is now just barely becoming available to use. How do you think playing a new champion in a competitive setting affects the player and the team?
Well, it's definitely one of those champions that you have to experience playing both against and with a whole bunch. I know people are going through the painful experience of learning how to play against and with Smolder right now. Another champion that is very new and I think becomes available next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
But Hui, is generally straightforward. You have your Q, which is Subject Disaster, which has 3 variations. You have a missile with your QQ. You have a bit of a Kog'Maw ulti with your QW, and then you have a less powerful Rumble ulti with your QE. Hold on, we have a bit of an invade. I will leave my Hui knowledge for another time. Oh no, Tebens8, you are in a bit of trouble here. Smite going to be landed by Absar actually.
Okay, Absar going to get hit by the Blast Cone Intruder, saving Deus Vult's jungle's life. And that's going to be flash used, however. Absar is going to get the double buffs and is going to continue to move forward, seeing that the wolves are not there, but we'll get the Gromps as an added bonus.
It's an added bonus, yes, but Tebens8 is going to be one camp positive here on Absar, unless the Xin Zhao decides to sprint across the map here to protect their blue buff. Credit has to go to Verticality and Muzi there for actually stepping past the wave and being in that tribe rush to stop Viper and Ekin from moving to the Xin Zhao play. And now this Nocturne gonna try and step in here. Is gonna, I believe, spot the is gonna spot the Xin Zhao on a ward that just expired there. As now Absar, you got to be really careful here. The Garen has moved from the top lane.
Yeah, gonna try to get out. No flash on Tebens8 though, but Stale Bagel is in the area. Gold going to be split. Tebens8 gonna take a little bit of it. It is still level 3 to level 3. Rizwan is in the area. Neversaw not going to be able to get away from the tether, as now we've got Rizwan trying to come through on the Cassante, going to be able to get out. Lots of damage from Neversaw. First blood is gonna go to Rizwan, as Intruder's gonna be able to take down Absar. It's still a 2v2 with Stale Bagel's gonna come in. Neversaw's low, Stale Bagel's low. Double kill for both Intruder and Rizwan, but Intruder still has mana with the blue buff, is gonna try to get the tether and gets the tether for the triple kill.
Wow, Karma got buffed, but that was not what I was expecting. Hold on.
Oh my god, big damage on Hypnotic Viper. Gonna flash and cleanse to be able to get away. They're gonna go for the winner's bite stuns. Hypnotic Viper takes down Vocality, and Deus Vult is gonna get the pseudo ace at the start of the game.
Yeah, a triple and a double. We got a full house here, Moose. Hypnotic Viper with an absolutely insane flash from the Muzi Q flash. That was, that was the most hype play I think we've seen. It was kind of bench watching Karma get a triple kill as slow as that was, but Hypnotic Viper throwing the action right back into it. Intruder, I honestly did a really amazing job there. Got the mantras back up on repeat there, and it just turned out to be an absolute disaster. As Tebens8, I don't think you want to be here. I think you win the 1v1, but this Hui is around.
Going to be able to get out using the movement speed to come through. Intruder is now level 5 with Ionian Boots of Lucidity. It's definitely strong. Neversaw's going to flash forward. Aggressive flash going to get rooted as now Tebens8 is going to be able to land the Q and get the extra movement speed. Neversaw. I don't think that is the way you will go down, and Intruder's on a rampage.
Ouch, but also true. Never thought did a really good job. I have to credit moving to that blue fight earlier and finding some decent amount of damage onto, you know, the top jungle of Nocturne and Garen. But in that fight, they just got a little bit too excited. Tried to find the Q, the flash fear onto Karma, who by the way still had flash, so was not dead by any means. But this game looking really nice for Deus Vult, as we saw last game. Top ends it. Doing a nice job linking up as Stale Bagel now going to be down a level as Rizzy going to try and go for a kill here potentially.
Oh boy, but Rizzy does not get the ultimate yet, hasn't used it. Stale Bagel 1 HP will flash away. Talbenzit will take the grubs and they do not get that kill.
And that's absolutely massive. Stale Bagel has Ignite in this lane, and so the Garen is really hoping to try and absolutely stomp the Cassante, who, you know, because of the fights in the top side and because of the 2 kills that they were able to receive, was able to get level 6 first. Hold on. All
right, Ekin gonna be a half HP. Absol's gonna come through with the strike for verticality. Gonna try to get the kill on Ekin. Not gonna be able to do so. Gonna be forced to flash. Absol's gonna take 2 turret shots, and Hypnotic Viper's gonna be on a killing spree. Does not land the piercing arrow though, and Deus Vult is still up by 4 kills.
Yeah, 1 for 1, but this is a 3-0 Varus now in the bot side as Muzi gonna get absolutely shook. Hold on, lens the Q instead.
Oh boy, now Muzi going to be very slow. That's going to be about 100 HP remaining on the Rel. The rain of arrows will get verticality down to about 350. Hypnotic Viper is ready for this. Gonna go for the chains of corruption. It's Hypnotic Viper on a rampage, living up to the name.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, I mean, Viper had to be really, really careful there. Had a shutdown and was sitting on a fair amount of gold, but was absolutely able to outplay verticality there. Knew that the Samira just wanted so badly to go in and find that kill onto Varus, but was unable to do so. Hypnotic Viper looking absolutely clean in that bot side here, and is well going to be going for the more expensive on-hit build in this game, and with 4 kills to their name, will absolutely be loving life in this bot side. And to add to their, you know, just a little bit of, you know, the feather in the cap, getting this dragon for themselves, they're able to pick up, I think, all 3 of the grubbies as well as this dragon. So Deus looking really good. I'd argue even better than they were looking in the last game, as Rizwan gonna be trying to go for another potential kill onto Stale Bagel, who is just trying to get this wave in on the top side. No real danger for the time being, but does not know that Absolar is actually behind them here. We'll be walking through try in just a moment as Stale Bagel gonna try and go in for another trade.
All right, does have the judgment, could potentially make this a 1 for 1, and now knows that he is in trouble. Will he be able to get the kill? Gonna try to go for it. No, Ignite will pop, and Rizwan will be assisted. Absar will take that kill for the Paranoia out from downtown. Talbenzit gonna try to get it, but unable to do so.
Oh, no.
And that's gonna be 2 kills for the top jungle duo. Absar and Rizwan are grand finalists in last season's AML, and they are showing that there.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate Talbenzit didn't opt to use the flash there. I think could have potentially followed for the kill. I'm going to assume it wasn't up. Otherwise, I feel like they would have absolutely followed. But really nicely done. Absar and Rizwan just crushing this top side here, trying to find a way to claw back into the game. Unfortunately, Cassante is not the type of carry that will be able to 1v9. Yes, you will be able to totally lock down the Varus, but it relies on, you know, Muzi. I think it relies on Muzi and Absar, you know, really getting close to this Varus to actually begin the fight, as verticality gonna try and trade a few autos, but we already see flash coming forward from Muzi, but Viper doing such a nice job.
Nicely done once again. The Glacial Fissure landing on both verticality and Muzi. Not going to be able to get the Inferno Trigger damage in on Hypnotic Viper's going to be able to get another double kill. Big damage from the ultimate though from Neversaw. Not quite enough yet. And now Hypnotic Viper with just a little bit of mana left will try to go for the piercing arrow. Will get it. It's a godlike Varus, now 7-0-0.
Yeah, I mean, the stage is set for Hypnotic Viper to have their absolute pop-off in this game. 7-0, going to be finishing that Borg on this next base. I don't know, again, a really nice reaction flash to Muzi trying to find and engage onto the Varus. Has just been spacing perfectly in this lane, and is going to be able to take another plate for their troubles here, as we see a TP actually coming in behind. It is the way.
All right, Hypnotic Viper, I don't know if you're going to be able to get out of that one. He's going to back. Does he survive? No, he stops the back, and that will seal his fate. Is he going to be able to get anyone out of it, though? He will not be able to, and Neversaw is going to be the one that takes that shutdown, getting 1,000 gold for their trouble.
I would argue you almost have to try and give them to the Samira. I know that Hui has been doing a good job in this game, but Absar going to be able to snipe one of these grubbies away. He's the crescent guard to disengage.
trying to be able to get out. Intruder's now here, and Deus Vult trying to get to that 4 stacks of grubs. They will be able to get 4 stacks. Yeah,
they should be able to get 5 here as well, which is going to be really crucial, as it is going to allow them to actually spawn the one little grubling that hits towers and is able to tank 1 or 2. As hold on, never saw it. Does a flash. All
right, flash going to be used with the winner's buy. Is going to land. That's going to be the fleet. That's going to be the fear. That's going to be the shutdown. The gold goes over to Ekin, though, but it is still a shutdown, and Neversaw is going to be down for 15 seconds. Verticality and Muzi maybe looking to go for something here in the bottom lane.
Uh-oh, Viper.
Viper's in trouble. Does have the cleanse. Not going to be able to get out of that Magnet Storm. Does not land the Chains of Corruption that time, and Verticality will get a nice 350.
Yeah, and Viper's been doing such a good job this game of, trying to stay safe, finding the ways to stay away from Muzi's engage. But Absol, I don't know what you're doing here, buddy. Forced to flash away is Xin Zhao, and Ekin now, you're in a bit of trouble as Muzi going to be chasing him down.
Gonna get the stun, Verticality. The flash will be used to be able to stay alive.
Yeah, I mean, good job from Muzi. Was able to find an angle onto Viper, knowing that they didn't have flash, and was able to find that Hex flash usage behind them. A kill for that bot lane is absolutely crucial. Verticality gonna be able to pick up just a bit more gold. Should be able to finish this collector on base here, which is I think a little bit greedy still in this game when you're down so much, but it sort of is what you need to get yourself back into the game. It's sort of it's weird for Samira because it's like you have to double down from the start of the game, otherwise it's doomed. But we'll be able to finish their first item in this game, and honestly, Absar in a very odd place, and it seems to be no warding actually to spot out the jungler for Khan.
Okay, we got to play, though. It is going to be a 2v3 now. Zapstar is going to come in for the very unpredicted flank. Ekin going to go for the Unbreakable. Going to be able to get a little bit of damage protection. Absar is going to get stunned. Absar might get rooted here. No, Intruder's going to be potentially in trouble. Ultimate's going to get popped by Neversaw. Going to be Ekin very low. The stun's going to land on the Muzi. Chains of Corruption aren't quite up yet, but Top bends it. We'll be able to take him down to make it a 1-for-1. Both supports will fall. Dragon is up for grabs.
Yeah, both supports go down, but the Braum will be up first, and honestly, they have better position, does Deus Volts, to be able to take this dragon. Push gotta come from Viper, and Neversaw gonna try potentially snipe out this dragon with a Q. Probably not be able to do so, as we see the Xin Zhao just trying to hover a bit more. But I mean, ultimately, that fight was pretty neutral, as the result was 1-for-1, supports going down. Pretty good that kill went over to Neversaw from Ekin. And pretty good as well that Top Benza was able to pick up that kill onto Muzi, just getting the gold onto the right members in this game. I'm curious to see how Tau Benza builds this Nocturne, because we see them go for the red trinket or for the red smite this game, which typically deems that you're going to go more damage focused. And I've been seeing a whole bunch of builds from Nocturne, specifically those they go hexblade into whatever they want to do. Which is, obviously for the ultimate haste, but a lot of them are going lethality right now, as Absar again is back in this bot lane, but luckily the ward will spot them out this time.
Yep, now Hypnotic Viper, very low mana, does have the Chains of Corruption available and can try to go for it. Looking at, kind of some of the Nocturne builds, you could go for the Eclipse, but Axiom Mark as well is an option if you wanted to maybe get a little extra cooldown if you want to go for those resets. But for now, though, it is Deus Vult looking to be able to get that Rift Herald. If they can get that with the 5 Void Grubs that they were able to complete, that would be a big Rift Herald, and it looks like they're going to get it uncontested here, Septi.
Crucially, though, with the Rift Herald, and I don't think a lot of people have realized this, as Tab Ensit has not picked up the eye, actually.
Okay, going to go for the Paranoia.
Doesn't have flash.
No flash will go in on it to Neversaw, but will go down. Neversaw will actually get 300, and a little bit of a misplay from the Deus Vult jungler.
Yeah, they get the Herald and they get the bot tower in exchange for their jungler. It's not the best trade, but Verticality is going to play this safe and be able to catch this next wave. But crucially, I think credit has to go to Absar this game. Has just been living in Top Bensit's jungle. As we see, has almost 3 camp lead on this Nocturne, which is not something you traditionally see as the Xin Zhao into Nocturne matchup. I think it's normally Nocturne having way more CSs. I mean, look at this matchup, man. This Garen is not doing anything to the Cassante anymore. The matchup is not what it once was. As Rizwan doing a nice job, just gonna get some trading done. But as we look around, it seems like Malignance is going to be the first finished item for Karma, which is definitely really nice in this game. Going to be offering that little bit of extra damage from your ultimate presses. I believe, does it proc on? I'm not quite sure. I have to do some homework on the Malignance item with Karma, because I know it procs if you hit a champion with RQ. I'm not sure how it works with RW. I would assume it does it on both halves potentially. But I mean, looking around, it looks like this blue side is going to try and set up and get some vision in the bot side of the jungle. But yeah, oh, Moose. Look at Viper's items.
Yeah,
we
that
are
looks
16
like
minutes in.
that's the power of a 7-2 Varus. That is Terminus and Blade of the Rune King, I believe, correct?
Sorry. It is a finished. It is a. My brain just broke there. It is a finished Blade of the Rune King as well as a finished Terminus.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. Sorry, my brain broke. I was reading chat. And then when you said something. But anyway, yeah, Terminus gonna be finished for Viper, which is really big this game. We'll be giving that extra bit of on-hit damage as well as stacking resistances. Honestly, it wouldn't be too surprised if they went for a Jock Show as this next item, as it is, really strong for them in this moment. Just, will guarantee that they don't get killed by this Samira should they, jump into a fight. As it looks like it will be a Chem Tank Dragon for the last game of the day. Or not the last game of the day. I'm not actually sure. That was me just speaking. But for the second game of the day, rather. As we see, Viper going to get a nice little interrupt onto Muzi there. And actually, that's pretty important, considering it will now pull Neversaw to actually stay in this mid lane a little bit longer to support vertically as they protect this tower.
Yeah, Deus Vult is gonna now summon the Rift Herald that's gonna be in the mid lane. That's actually gonna be a little bit of a mount for Talbenza to get to the mid lane a little bit faster. He will get the headbutt, and that is gonna be that turret down with the dragon now spawning in 30 seconds. They will not get the second headbutt, so they will just give that extra little bit of gold over. But now the opportunity for a team fight could potentially commence with 20 seconds remaining until the dragon spawns. Tail Bagel's gonna be up against Rizzy in the top lane to make it that 1v1, and now the 4v4 with the rest of Deus Vult trying to be able to maybe go for something. Hypnotic Viper could potentially find a big chance of corruption here, but Connie Sports X are going to give away the mid lane priority, which will also give River complete control over to Deus Vult. Talbenza is going to be able to get the blast cone to go into the dragon pit and does have paranoia available to maybe find an angle on an Neversaw or on verticality if they are not careful. Muzi going to be down to less than a third of their HP. Muzi's going to be down to less HP. They engage with a big multi-man magnet storm. That's the Inferno Trigger coming in from verticality, trying to be able to get what they can. Moose is going to go down. Egan is still alive. Double kill for Stale Bagel, though. Triple kill for Stale Bagel, who completely wipes out Connie Sports X. That's another kill for Intruder, getting the shutdown onto Rizzy, and it's going to be 4 for 2 in favor of Deus Vult. Make it 5 for 2, and the ace against Connie Sports X. Oh, never mind.
Neversaw gonna be slightly too slippery there, and that fight looked so good. Muzi got chunked down to 1 HP, but said, I have to make something of my time here. Flashes used the Magnet Storm to pull in, I believe that was 4 members of Deus Vult there, and it looked really good with verticality, getting the Inferno Trigger off as well, but just not enough damage to rip through the entire members of Deus Vult there. As we saw Talbenza, Stale Bagel, and Intruder just doing such a nice job to clean up the fight. They had to use so much to kill Viper that it was almost not worth it. This Varus, again, pulling so much pressure, has been positioning really aggressively in this game, and it seemed as though Muzi took the bait in that instance. But I think, Moose, it's critical to know that, yes, they lost the fight, and yes, they lost the dragon, but in a state where you're, far behind and the enemy team has shutdowns, any kills back in your favor are entirely worth it, because it means it's gold back in your pocket, and the item lead, granted, it might not be, getting smaller per se, but it's at least, you're getting more items in your favor. As we look around the map, going to be a Cosmic Drive finished by Intruder now, as Baron seems to be the next objective on the table for this Deus Vult side.
Yeah, and it's a far more accelerated game for Deus Vult than it was in game 1 because they've got such a big lead on Intruder and Hypnotic Viper. The Orianna game from Intruder was questionable. A couple of missed shockwaves a lot of missed opportunities. But this game, you know, started off with that triple kill and has been able to kind of command the middle part of the rift throughout the rest of the early game and through the mid game. And so I really do like the Cosmic Drive here because it gives you those opportunities to get those mantras a little bit quicker. It gives you the opportunity to be a little bit more impactful in those team fights when you're not necessarily going to get popped for not having a more, I guess, balanced item as opposed to an aggressive one like the Malignant's Cosmic Drive. Yeah, I mean, you're getting a lot of movement speed as well from that Cosmic Drive. I think it's really interesting that Neversaw has gone for the Death Cap second. I guess it's sort of becoming a bit more of the norm. We're seeing it a lot on this year where they'll go Natural Shoot straight into Death Cap. But it's just that raw AP damage in this game. And when you have Neversaw who's going that first strike, going that Horizon focus, and is fully focused on just outputting as much damage, you know, from range, building pure AP is totally fine in this game. I appreciate that we're not seeing... I'll call it, what is it, the Hextech Revolver? Yeah. Not the Hextech Revolver. It's, it's Luden's Revolver. Or whatever. Yeah, Luden's Companion. There we go. Luden's Glock. I mean, what? Sorry. Anyway, we see an engage going on the top side. Sail Bagel. Gonna get absolutely pummeled by the quad squad of Con Esports. And I mean, that's what you got to do, though, right? Like, if you're Con Esports X, that's a shutdown. You say, Rizwan, I'm going to be in the bottom, or go into the bottom lane, be that 1v1, and then we will be the 4-man death squad that will destroy anybody and everybody. Absolar going to try to get a little bit of damage in. Is going to engage onto Ekin, but will miss the Crescent Guard. Hypnotic Viper is going to get pulled back in. Huge Glacial Fissure onto all 5 members of the Con Esports X squad. Hypnotic Viper is left to their own devices. Triple kill for the Varus. That's it, absolutely insane as it's not quite over yet. Talben's gonna walk down, Neversaw. As we see Verticality gonna try and walk away here. Hypnotic Viper just absolutely gonna find it. Verticality tried to go for the Insta Inferno trigger proc, but was unable to actually get it done. But I think credit has to go for Ekin there, who, you know, was the sacrificial lamb, as it were, in that fight, but was able to land a massive glacial fissure, slow down the entire team, and just allow Hypnotic Viper to just full hit freely. Credit again to Viper with a really nice flash away from the crash down from Muzi to keep them safe and allow them to hit. But again, this fight, this game has to be on Hypnotic Viper's shoulders, and if this guy is able to stay safe, I can only see it going better and better for Deus Vult. Yeah, going to be able to go for the Rage Blade third Intruder, now fully stacked on that Dark Seal, but is not going to upgrade it into the Magi Soul Stealer. They have 40 seconds remaining until the next Chemtech Drake spawns, however, and it could potentially have that Chemtech Soul at the 24-minute mark if they're able to pick it up. Guardian Angel completed for Tau Benzit as their second item. Wow. And that's very expensive. We are still waiting for a third item to be completed for Neversaw. 4, 5, and 4. Very expensive build right now with the Rabadon's Death Cap. Has another needlessly large rod, but it is going to be a little bit of an item. It is going to be a little bit of a power diff in favor of Deus Vult in this team fight that it looks like Con Esports X is going to commit to. Oh, hold on. Speaking of committing, they're going to commit a little bit of their damage. Crescent Guard's going to get used by Absar, but it's Paranoia down. Now we're going to see the flash coming in from Mosey. Going to get it. The Magnet Storm does not land it. On Hypnotic Viper. Going to get the root. On Neversaw. Going to get the shutdown onto Intruder, though. Mosey's low. Hypnotic Viper's unstoppable. That's 2 kills for Hypnotic Viper. Make it 2 kills for Stale Bagel. The Dragon goes to Deus Vult, and it is a 4-for-2 trade. This Hypnotic Viper guy just sees into the future, knows exactly where the Rel engage is going to come from, and positions accordingly. No flash available. Does not matter. Just was absolutely free hitting from the side. They did such a nice job. They were able to get the soul as well, and now they're going to try and push down for potentially what is probably going to be an inhib, considering they don't really have the wave for much more. But just a really nice fight. Hypnotic Viper proving again and again why they are the stable carry of this ball lane here. This Varus looking so clean, as Neversaw just trying so hard to find any angle of engage here. Still Bagel as well going to be supporting their AD. But yeah, I mean, that was a really nice fight. They're not going to be able to get the inhib as a result, but they are going to be able to take down 3 towers on this play here. Talben's going to knock down that second tier, or that tier 2 in the top side.
And it looks really, really good for Deus Vult, as opposed to last game where they had, they weren't really playing their composition correctly, with the scaling composition. This one, where they are kiting back, they are playing to keep their 80 carry safe. That is exactly what you want to be seeing, and that is exactly why they're sitting on a 7k gold lead.
Yeah, and I mean, you said it in that last team fight, but I gotta shout him out again. Ekin with just great coverage and really putting in a lot of power with that wall. Verticality cannot get the damage that they need if they pop Inferno Trigger and Ekin's wall is up. And yes, you're able to get down Intruder, but you just left Hypnotic Viper to their own devices. Great positioning from Hypnotic Viper and great support from Ekin, as now Absar is going to be caught out. You cannot go for that red buff. Stale Bagel will take down the Con Esports jungler.
Yeah, and when Stale Bagel is in the mid lane there, I think you cannot be safe anywhere in the spot side jungle. I mean, you know that they're full committing to the spot side play. Is ulti actually going to land onto Intruder?
No, never saw. It's gonna have to use the ultimate. Aegis is gonna be used. Hypnotic Viper. This is an overextension, and that's gonna be a shutdown. Gonna go over to Verticality, but now Stale Bagel's gonna come through. Does still have Judgment available. Using the flash earlier, gonna land the root onto Rizwan, but that's not gonna really do much more. The inner tower will go down in the bottom lane, though, with 4 members of Deus Vult and 3 members of Con Esports still alive. It's going to see if they're able to defend this inhibitor tower. It is melting really quickly, as Rizwan going to try to come through, going to deal a little bit of damage in on it too. Ekin going to pull them back in with the ultimate. Nice crash down, going to come through. Nice damage onto Intruder, onto Top Benson, onto Stale Bagel. It goes down. Verticality.
Hold on.
Way low. Double kill though for Verticality as they take down Intruder.
Yeah, this is really scary now for Deus Vult, because you just gave Verticality almost 1,500 gold, if not more, throughout that entire exchange. This Samira was already, almost 3,000 gold from that exchange there. And is not done quite picking up their gold. It's going to probably try and go for a full item here on this base. And this Samira is no joke. After this B, will be on the same amount of items as the Varus, which is absolutely insane to me, given the way this game has gone so far. But I mean, just looking around, Muzi did a really nice job finding the overextended bot laner of Viper and Iken on that bot side tower. And as a result, was able to get a 900 gold shutdown to Verticality. And then the follow-up from just way too much of an overextension from the rest of Stale Bagel, Tal Benson, and Intruder just meant that it was an absolute fight win for Khan. Granted, I mean, the only benefit that I think we could see from that fight is that Hypnotic Viper was able to hold on to their flash, which means that for this Baron fight in 50 seconds time, and even potentially the Elder fight in a minute, this Varus should have their flash available and should be able to hopefully stay safe from the Rel engage.
I do not agree with the Immortal Shield Bow build. I think you go Guardian Angel here. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Shield Bow, it's one of those builds where Samira, where you want the damage and you want the lifesteal, and it sort of is pretty not key to her comp, but it is very synergistic with the way she likes to play. I think she's pretty safe. I don't think she gets one shot in these fights. And I think potentially with the lifeline shield, with the extra healing, because I mean currently she has none, right? She has Conquer, and she maybe has bloodline in her runes. And I mean, looking at the comp, the Xin Zhao is not going to carry the fight. Unfortunately, this Hui, despite the amount of gold that they have, is also not going to carry the fight. And Verticality needs to find a way in, as Absar, just going to get engaged on by Bagel.
Paranoia is going to connect. The teleport is able to come through. They're going to be able to get a lot of damage in on Absar. Absar's going to go down. Next is going to be Rizwan, and Con Esports did not know where to go. Big damage though. Ekin survives. Ekin survives with 1 HP. What is this game? It didn't matter. The Immortal Shield Bow just did not do it. Verticality did not find the play, and Con Esports X are not going to win this game. Deus Vult are going to take some inhibitors and might even be able to take this game if they have enough time.
That fight looked so good for the side of Khan. They had a really nice usage of the Spiraling Despair from Hui, but just no damage coming out from the Deus Vult mid laner there. I mean, you had a bit of slowing, you had a bit of wombo combo, but it just was not enough to get it over the line. And we saw Viper stay safe. We saw Intruder, with some really nice shields and damage coming out. Ekin, as you said, was the shield that kept the team alive. But I think credit for that last fight has to go to Stale Bagel. Was able to catch out the Xin Zhao on the other side of the fight, knew that they were safe with that new wall in the mid lane there. And it allowed Talbenza to actually follow up with the Paranoia and get the early kill onto Absolar, which basically already won them the fight because it also dragged Rizwan out of position. It meant that there was no follow-up from the Rel ulti as well on the other side of the fight. And honestly, just a very, very clean win coming out from the side of Deus Vult.
Yeah, and I mean, I got to go back to the Immortal Shield vote because I feel like that was a mistake because the game is won or lost at Baron. You need to be able to stay alive, and I get the synergistic nature. Immortal Shield Bow gets more value the more team fights that you're in. When you only have one team fight, if you die in that team fight, you're dead. Intruder has the Oblivion, or if you're going to get less healing if you get hit by anything like that. I just think in that situation, go for the Guardian Angel. It might not be optimal, but in case you die, you're able to get back up and deal that damage. That's my thought on that.
No, I think that's a totally fair thought. I think that's absolutely fair. I think Shield Bow has been maybe not buffed, but has been, picked up a lot more recently because, of all of the poke that's been coming out, as well as all the burst that's been coming out. I think Freak was talking about it on the 14.3 patch notes, and how Shield Bow sort of is one of those items that people have realized is a thing again, despite, it not existing for almost 6 months last year, despite being very clearly in the game. But I mean, I don't know. I can understand the thought process behind it. You want to extend your life just a little bit more. Once you get the Inferno trigger, you'll be healing a whole bunch. You'll be creating a whole bunch. But I mean, it was really, really good as we see the results of last week's match currently on screen, but does not matter. We had a really nice game. Deus Vult remains undefeated currently in the Ixtal group of the Aegis Marauders League. They're sitting 4-0 and awaiting any challengers who decide to approach them.
Yeah, and really strong. I mean, I got to shout out Deus Vult for showing us, I think, where they are on the map. They were up against a formidable top jungle duo that got to grand finals last season in Absar and Rizwan, but they just weren't able to continue to keep that going here in this game. And Deus Vult, well, they did have a couple of stumbles along this match. It was definitely controlled throughout the entirety of that series, and they are definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with in the Ixtal division. But that is going to do it today for the AML. Septi, what's going on later this week here in Aegis Esports?
I don't have the specific matches in front of me, Moose, but I can tell you that every week in the AML, we have Aegis Execution, or Aegis AEL, our Emerald and Diamond League on Thursday. We also have our APL, as it's now called, on Friday. And I believe in a few weeks' time, I'm not exactly sure of the start date, but the ACL will return. So get your hype hats on for that one, as it is going to be a really fun series to watch, as well as all of our other series. I mean, the AML has been a banger 2 weeks in a row. Yes, they've been 2-0s, but they've been exciting, brawly, and bloody 2-0s. I think AEL got off to a great start last week as well, and APL as well. Going to be really interesting to watch as it unfolds. But Moose, before we go, I'd like to once again thank our sponsors in Coachify.gg as well as ProComps. They're doing a really nice job supporting the Aegis leagues. And honestly, to be honest, from someone who's used both, this is not even an ad read. This is whatever. I have used both ProComps and Coachify. I think they're both really good. ProComps has really helped just learn different champs in solo queue just to practice and what sort of spots to look for. But anyway, I think we are going to head off for the evening. Moose, take us away.
Yeah, thank you so much, Septi. Thank you so much to Wookie Monster, our producer, for being there behind the scenes. Really quick, everybody, we appreciate your guys' continued patience as the Riot client continues to not be our bestest of friends here at the start of season 14. Until we can get it organized, we're probably going to be continuing with the replay style view that we've been seeing. So we're not going to be starting at 5 PST. It's more going to be like 5:45 to 6 p.m. PST, depending on the length of that first game. So just keep in touch and stay active on the Aegis Esports Discord. That'll be the best place for you to stay up to date on when and where we start our matches each week. But in the meantime, on behalf of everybody here at Aegis Esports, Septi, Wookie Monster, and myself, have a great rest of your night and take care.